autopilot. No,
Right, right.
it has to be both.
Yeah.
Autopilot also, you may get in, some people can join you, perhaps not aligned very much with the company's ambition, company's value system.
Yeah.
And you give them the authorities, and then they make vital, let's say, mistakes. Now, you want to do it in a very professional way, structured in a way like the whole company is like a check and balance. Everybody is looking after his colleague in terms of responsibility and accountability. Every division is like that.
Right.
It's like the way of doing business or practicing business is the way of what you inside you believe as a leader within that division. Yeah.
Sure. Let me just engage the audience a little bit. How many people in this audience are entrepreneurs or running their own businesses? That's good 20-30%, if not more, are entrepreneurs here. What is your advice to these entrepreneurs when it gets to issues like corporate governance and so on? Because a lot of them feel it's too expensive to have specialized accountants, specialized services. They are still wanting to keep things under control. And here you are, you're saying, okay, I will have transparency and I will do an IPO and I'll have external shareholders and partners. What advice do you have to these entrepreneurs as they grow in their business?
Well, for one thing, every company and every family, they have their own circumstances, in which I don't know, right?
Right. But
generally, I can say, start building it. It's not expensive. Let it go. It's something, a fear within yourself. Some people, some owner who build something from scratch, it's like your baby. You don't want somebody else to take care of it. Something in terms of emotion, which you cannot overcome within yourself. And then the other part is the fear of how that is practiced, the business would be practiced. I tell you this, if you don't do, let's say, corporate governance, in a way or other, let's say, to start doing it, then you make a mistake. You're killing the business by your own hand. You're killing that business, the one you build it, and you're keeping let's say, a limit to it, without you knowing it. But your intention is in the best, for sure. But that's not true. When the business practice is at the highest standard, and there is clarity in terms of system, processes, and eventually the culture, you will find the decision-making process is much more professional. The business decision is also more is done in a more creative, in more profitable way possible for the company, and you and the rest of some of your colleagues or the leaders there in the company can be more free to give and contribute for the future of the company instead of being stuck into the day-to-day business. Yeah.
So in terms of your business philosophy, do you like lots of partnerships, or do you like to retain control in a different way, because you manage a lot of franchises and a lot of brands? Do you see them as partners, or do you feel that they are at a distance and you just take over and just control them? I just want to try and understand the philosophy, and that a lot of people would share that.
Well, as an individual, as a business, we do have a lot of partners by default.
Okay.
And it depends how you both see the mutual interest from each end, and how you want to grow that interest or that relationship for long future. And we all have many experience in that.
Yeah.
Now, whether you want a partners to come to your home,
Yeah.
that's something you need to be very careful, but it is very important. Every partner, let's say, potential partner, would have some added value to your business. And those added values should be very clear from beginning.
Right.
So it's not like you do bring the partners for the sake of, like, say, having the partners,
I
right?
understand. Yeah.
And at the same time, when you do the process of selecting a partner, the lines should be very clear. The expectation should be very clear. I mean, whether it is a partnership within one family or a partnership with other families or other businessmen. The article of association, decision-making process, everything should be very clear. Okay. So when there is clear line, and expectation is known, there would be less dispute about these points.
Let's open this to the floor a little bit, because I'd like people to also engage with Mr. Fahim here. And that is, if they wanted to be a partner with you today, okay, what are the 2-3 things they need to do to be interesting for you? And then I'll ask one person to sort of say, okay, they'd like to be a partner, and what do they need to do? What are you looking for?
Well, there is a partnership on the level of IPO in which I hope it comes through sooner than we plan. So at least the customers, our customers, can have the access to be part of us instead of just being our customers.
Okay.
Yes. As part of where we are today, potential partners should believe in what we do. In terms of not the business itself, not only being the passion about the business we're doing, is the value system, the how part of we practicing our business, what we believe is important to us when we're doing business. There is a value system in which each company has embedded into the culture of the company, come from the partners itself, from the founders itself, right? And if that doesn't match, then it's just a temporary partnership for making some money. And usually, if it's not IPO part, like we buy shares in the market, then that partnership wouldn't work, because that click wasn't there from the heart, not from what you say.
Sure. Let's engage with, and here's an opportunity to engage with Mr. Fahim. Anybody here who wants to be a partner with the Paris Gallery Group?
And the question of partnership is actually very important for small startups, particularly in this part of the world where there are family groups who by and large are market leaders and have a consolidated footprint in the market. So my question to you would be, would a small young startup that has an interesting value proposition on selling beauty and personal care products online through a sampling methodology be of any interest to you? And if so, how could we, what would be the value proposition that you would be interested to hear more about?
He has an online business, beauty and care, healthcare products. What he is saying is that he feels that family businesses are extremely powerful in monopolistic positions and often does not enable young entrepreneurs to come in and connect with you. What value proposition does he need to show to you for his business to be interesting to you? Have I got it right?
Spot on.
Spot on. There you go.
All right. I mean, whether you are a bigger company or a smaller, there are many ways to attract partnerships, because the business only grows with making more partnership, making the current partnership relationship bigger and more, let's say, of interest to both parties. If your business is adding value to the space of the beauty and you believe that added value is mutual for both us and you can always present. And we do this, say, in regular practices in terms of processing, finding out how we can find more mutual interest with other parties. And
so does he have to give you a business plan? Do you like to just get to know him?
Yeah, it starts very simply.
Okay.
Very simple. You introduce yourself. We find, for example, from which division or department is more relevant to what you like to offer. You sit with the head of that department, and then there would be first meeting. Then there would be second meeting if there is more interesting, let's say, points comes up, and we take it from there. And in case some of the points is not working for some reasons, we always can be in contact. You can always say, here, somebody didn't get me or pushing me back. I'd like to see you. I say, fine. I participated in some of your meetings too. We do this with many people approach us, or we do approach them. Start very simple.
Okay. Anybody else who has a genuine business opportunity that, because this is very relevant for a lot of the entrepreneurs here, and they find it extremely difficult to reach out to large corporations and they get intimidated. So what I'm trying to drill down, I'll get to you, ma'am, in a sec. Can we take a mic towards that lady at the back, please?
I represent a wellness brand and we work on lifestyle modification. So my question is, how can you promote that beauty is within, and how can we teach people to look inside and feel more beautiful inside than the cosmetic beauty?
Look, we wouldn't be here if we didn't work with many partners. So it's always, it works and it should be the way. That would be my wish, for people to feel beautiful inside and outside. Because the more comfortable you are with yourself, with what you believe in and how and what you act upon your belief, you already have the confidence. You are beautiful. You feel very good about yourself, right? The outside part is very simple. I mean, leave it to us.
Sure. So what does she need to do as an entrepreneur to reach an organization like yours and get her value proposition across to you? And how would you do that? You probably hate PowerPoints. I hate PowerPoints. The methodology, because I think a lot of people get stuck in their own little space. They just don't know how to reach out. What would you like to see? I mean, I know you gave meet one division manager, another division manager, and 4 levels above, and it just gets lost.
No, it's not like that.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we are everywhere. We are on website. We are on the floor in many places, right?
Right.
So you have an offer whatsoever, and you believe that offer works with us as a mutual interest, added value. We set up the contact. A proper person would go through the process with you. If we both find, that can add value to both at that stage, then they do the next process of all this business plan and so on.
Ma'am, so you have to do your 2-pager and get it across to the company and see what happens. All right, thank you for that. Now, moving on, you've mentioned IPOs several times, and I find it very interesting because over the last few years in this part of the world, IPOs have completely dried up. And because of the financial crisis was one of them, but the structure, there's just not sufficient liquidity in the market. Why do you need the IPO? Do you need lots more money? If you want to have corporate governance, you can do it without an IPO. What's really driving that? Because it becomes, a lot of people talk about it, but is that really necessary?
Yes. There are stages of life of any organization.
Yes.
Like what? The life of a person.
Yeah.
There is the young stage, then is the mature, let's say, person.
Yeah.
Then it gets older and so on. Organization, when you do the corporate governance internally, of course with the help of others and so on, it doesn't stay there the way you like. Okay, the market environment changes, the competition become more fierce. The people might get off the track because there are new people coming to the organization, there are people moving on. So to keep it, to maintain it the way you like, is not going to be that easy, because that's an everyday process. But if you want to be in lead, or to keep the market share you have today, at least the top 3 in terms of leadership, then you need to have a space, create the space for the company to grow. Now, IPO, by standards, by regulation, it enforces you to keep the corporate governance alive and strong. I'm not talking about exceptional things goes wrong and so on, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ideal situation. Now, it gives you the access to fund and to knowledge and management. When you have that access at that stage, you become, more capable in terms of financial and skills and people. You can compete within the territory, with territories and outside the territories. That means you can reach out to your customers from your home in a bigger way because you have the capability. When you have that, that means also you created a situation in which you can do acquisition, you can do diversification, you can do mergers in some of the divisions. So all this would be more available to you. The horizon would be much bigger. Not in a way like you can imagine today or the way I'm thinking. I'm sure it's going to be much more.
Right. We'll open the floor later to some questions upon the business, but we can move to the next stage of your life. You are now at the peak, well, perhaps close to your peak, but certainly at a very, very high point in your life. And you're very blessed, you have a beautiful family, you've got resources around you. What are you going to do with your life over the next 10, 20 years?
If I live that long?
I'm sure you will. I'm sure
God knows. Well, initially I thought when I'm 45, I want to retire from doing the same thing I used to be doing for past, let's say, 10, 15 years or so.
Right.
That didn't happen, and it will not happen. But that thought, it didn't go away. I want to retire from what I'm doing today in the next few years. Maybe the time and circumstance allows that, and I wouldn't hesitate doing it. I like to be freed up for myself, for the family, and for the society.
Okay.
Now, there is a research one nurse has done in Australia, and I like that one, the finding. I don't remember all the points she mentioned. It's on the web. She was asking the people who were in a bad situation, sick and old, in a hospital, asking them, what are the 5 things in life you regret?
Yes.
I try to remember some of them, right?
But you said you don't regret anything, so you don't have any 5 things. So, I'm just joking.
For one thing, many people commonly they said they regret they didn't have the time for themselves.
Right.
This was one of the things. So they work hard every day, and that doesn't worth it. The other thing is they never been themselves the way they wish within themselves. They always been reluctant and careful about what other thinks of them, and they regret that. I think that's something many of us were very careful about it. They regret, they forget some of their old friends in terms of seeing or, So there were like 5, I don't remember all, but I remember like 2 or 3 of them. I don't want to be one of those guys.
Okay.
When you think you're giving the time to yourself, right. Within yourself, like, okay, you're giving the time to your soul and body. So they wouldn't be asking you why you didn't pay attention to me, your family. Because that's something most of us, even though we love our family by instinct, but when it comes to practice, we miss a lot of timing with them. So that's not good. Society. We are obliged to help society. We are one of them. We've been the same situation in the past or maybe in future. So we shouldn't forget that, because when you contribute, you feel happy within yourself. And it's very thankful to yourself.
Yes.